everybody. Welcome to another exciting edition of Transformers Reviews. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Transformers Beast Machines, Vehicons, Scavenger, and Mirage. Now, if you guys ever watched the Beast Machine series, you know that these guys were not in the show itself, but their designs are just too cool to ignore. So I went ahead and got these guys for really cheap. And I'm actually excited because I've had both these guys in my collection at one point or another and sold them, and now I'm actually able to have them again. So anyway, if we take the packaging, you know, you can kind of see basically there's some similarities to what we have today. Obviously the Transformers is a little bit different. It's on the opposite side and you know, the Beast Machine's font, but I found it kind of funny because I was just thinking about that. I was like, wow, that's kind of odd, you know, that, you know, there's some visual similarities. But besides that, basically everything else is different. One thing I did notice for the basic figures of Beast Machines is they included this little sticker down at the bottom, you know, with a little promo showing, you know, his alternate mode from what he's displayed in. You know, and then back then it was on Fox Kids and all that great stuff. So anyway, like I said, I love having these guys. They're just unique enough in their own right. And like Beast Wars that preceded them, you know, for most figures they had the transformation guides on the back with their tech specs and, you know, little promos of what else they released in the line, all this sort of stuff. So anyway, we'll go ahead and get these guys out and take a look at them. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, here we have these guys out of their packaging, and I have to say that, you know, having had these guys before, I'm really happy to have them again in my collection, because overall, they're both solid figures. Now, if you look at Mirage here on the right, he's obviously a more passable, recognizable vehicle, being an Indy race car. The only thing that gives him away, really, is the, you know, gun here on the back of his head. Now, Scavenger's another story. But Scavenger, I gotta admit, he is just quirky enough that I really like him. You know, he's got his tank treads in here, and then these wheels that, you know, are on the back. And you know what? I mean, the paint apps for this guy are just awesome. And I mean, he rolls really decently. I'm not gonna lie. And you know, it's really kind of cool. What they did was they've got these little orange bits right here that you know, are faded in from this chrome. And while I'm on these, you know, these are obviously claws. You can see that. There's no hiding that. While I'm on the subject of the claws, I do want to mention that these fingers on one version of it that I had, these are kind of, one of them's kind of loose, one of them's kind of tight. But on a previous version, one of these fingers broke off. And you got to keep in mind, it's just a thin piece of plastic. So, you know, maybe it was just that one. The other one that I had besides this one, haven't had any problems with the finger so far. Now, another one that I had a problem with was on the neck. You can kind of see whenever this head collapses in and out, this little supposed to imitate like a hydraulic piece. This also has a tendency to be weak, and just kind of looking at it, I don't really see any cracks or anything in this one. It's just kind of how it's molded and everything. But overall, you know, whatever, it's cool. So anyway, we'll go ahead and kind of start with Scavenger here. He has a gimmick that if you pull on this back piece right here, he has a talking mouth, you know. And you know what, even though the shape of the head, it's kind of odd. I'm not gonna lie, because you've got all this body down here, and then you've got like kind of this neck thing, which I guess he's supposed to represent like a backhoe maybe, but why would his head be the shovel? I don't know. He's described as a destruction vehicle, so probably this is just something Cybertronian that we have no relation to. So anyway, but his head, you know, I mean, hey, I like it. They even detailed the paint on the inside there, you know, and I gotta admit that the orange and the green work well together. You know, he's got his LED spotlights up here, and then you can kind of position the Gatling gun and the missiles wherever you want, but that comes into play later on in robot mode. So with Scavenger, the one thing is the Beast Machines were big on the spark crystals. So you flip down his little compartment here, and voila, you got a green Vehicon Spark. So overall, I mean, like I said, it's quirky enough. I like it. It's just different, you know. And the name Scavenger, hey, it works. It works. Now, Mirage is another story. I originally got him back when I was a kid, the other one that I had, and you know, Mirage in G1 was a race car. So, you know, I think it's rather appropriate. But if you ever read the Wrecker storyline, the character of Devcon, basically, he plugged his spark into a version of this, and it turned red, white, and blue. And so anyway, after I read the Wreckers comic book when I was a little bit older, I always kind of pretended like this was Devcon, you know. And but now that I have the Devcon figure, I want to get Mirage because I like the way this figure looks. You know, and always these kind of look like blue flames shooting out the back. And what these are part of a pressure missiles, and it came packaged like this, which makes it look like it's connected to the rest of the car, which I guess that makes sense. But you know, you could kind of have like this if you want to, just to get them out of the way, and they do fire still. So, you know, ooh, fabulous pressure release. Anyway. But overall, I mean, it's a solid vehicle mode. It rolls well, and you know, the paint scheme on him works. I mean, yeah, you think, oh my goodness, like yellow and green, really? But it's kind of a forest green, and I think the silver and the little bits of black and the translucent blues, they kind of break it all up. It doesn't look as awful as it might sound, just mentioning that. So anyway. But again, vehicle mode is solid for both these guys. They roll really awesome, which is a plus in my book. So anyway, we'll go ahead and take these guys and look at them in robot mode. And here they are. So first off, we'll go ahead and take a look at Mirage. And one thing I forgot to show you in vehicle mode was his spark crystal. And his is kind of cool because it's this orange thing, but it's in the car which forms his back and such. So anyway, yeah, one thing that I really have always kind of liked is his head. And let's see if we can take a look at his light piping, which you can see, ooh, glowy eyes and such. But honestly, when they light up, it's really kind of cool. You know, this is one of those ones that obviously you'd have to get lit up from the side like we're doing here, but I mean the eyes have a cool kind of lit up effect whenever you put a light behind them and everything. So anyway, aside from his head, oh, Scavenger, don't fall off back there, buddy. One thing is he has no hands. The only hands that he does have are the ones that are molded in here, and they kind of seem kind of small for him. Even the holes that were put in these deals, it's kind of a shame because when you have these out, it would have been really kind of cool if you could have held these as kind of like, you know, some sort of stick to beat somebody or something. Anyway, but it retains the pressure release thing that we saw in vehicle mode, so if you were to press it, you know, boom. Overall, vehicle mode is probably the more impressive of the two, but his robot mode isn't bad. He's just kind of misshapen. His hands are really small, his chest right here is really small, and then he's kind of, his arms are in proportion to his head. But if you look at his legs, he's got this tiny little bit of a deal up here, and then like these huge long part of his legs, which, you know what, really doesn't bother me. His misproportions don't bother me, but I just wanted to go ahead and bring those out. These are on ball joints, and he has these things up here on ball joints, you know, and he has a wide range of motion in his arms and his legs, so he is rather posable. And overall, I just, you know, actually between him and Scavenger, I probably like Mirage a little bit better. Just because, you know, first of all, he's easier to pose, and overall, I just like his overall look that he's got. You know, because whenever he has both of his missile launchers in here, let's take a look at that real quick. It doesn't even go. So overall, like whenever he's you know, got his missile launchers fully prepped and stuff, you know, he looks like he could do some damage. So anyway, that's it for Mirage. Now Scavenger is a little bit interesting because he's hard to get in a really cool pose. I've never been able to find one for him, but I'm not gonna gripe. He is hard to stand up because back here you can see he has no heel supports. I mean, it's just this little tiny bit of the foot right here, and I mean, he stands up straight. He can do that. That's not an issue at all for him. But then again, you know, just there's not much there. Now, if you remember, I mentioned earlier about these things right here. In vehicle mode, they're folded down like this. When robot mode, the vehicle mode head is at an angle, so you can bring these up straight forward, and it looks like he can use them. That's the one thing is he doesn't come with any external weapons. They're all basically just on his body or part of his body. So anyway, you know, in the claws they can open up pretty wide. So you know, overall it's not a bad figure in robot mode either. I mean, he's kind of got this tiny little head with like half of a face. And let's take a look at his light piping. Ooh, that ain't bad though. Hey, I can dig it. So you know, just holding it up to the light, it doesn't shine that well, but you know, you put a light to it and it lights up pretty good. So anyway, overall these guys together, they aren't bad. If you were going to go for one or the other, my recommendation is going to go more towards Mirage. Even though I love the quirkiness of Scavenger, overall Mirage is probably a little bit more of a solid of a figure in terms of design and aesthetic appeal. Scavenger just kind of looks like he's kind of thrown together. Not to say that I don't love his robot mode, I do. But anyway, I mean, if you can get these guys for about $5 a piece, then do it. You know, they're both good figures, and for as old as they are, from 1999, go for them. But anyway, this has been Transformers Reviews, review of Scavenger and Mirage.